Morning, everybody. It's DJ MV Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest we haven't seen in a long ass time.
We found her.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ameriie.
We dug her up.
Where the hell have you been?
Where you been, Ameriie?
I've been out in the universe somewhere. No, I've been creating a lot of stuff. I've been working on writing.
You talk to the mic. Talk to the mic.
Oh,
put your lips on the mic, beautiful.
Yeah, there. I've been working on a lot of stuff. New music, which is coming. Actually,
you haven't had albums out since 2009.
But she put out a
song.
song.
I didn't realize that, but I did a song. Mm-hmm. But I have an EP coming Friday, actually, and then I'm working on another one that I want to put out in July, and then I have an anthology coming out.
Okay,
it's like it's a villain themed anthology with a lot of best selling authors because I've been doing a lot of writing too,
which is fascinating to me. So, I love that.
I
love
an English
writing.
degree, right?
I do, yes, and I love writing. Like that's what I did when I was really, really young.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom was like, "Oh, you're singing. I thought you were going to be a lawyer or a writer or something like that." But yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm working on a sci-fi fantasy trilogy.
What's been paying the bills though? Like, because it's been a long time.
Well, publishing and little things here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Public music publishing.
Got you. So what you been doing? Shows?
A little bit.
You selling weed, Ameriie?
A little bit. A little bit.
Okay.
I see your YouTube channel.
Oh, I have a booktube. See, the reason I would never have joined YouTube because some of my friends were like, "Why did you?" I'm surprised you even did that because you're so private. But I was like, I read so many books. Like I read 50 to 60 books a year, and I was like, I don't have anyone to really talk about all those books with. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'll just join YouTube so I can geek out over books because there's like a book-centric kind of thing on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So I just like to do that for fun.
Okay, so your books are you're signed to the same publishing company that Harry Potter books are.
Oh,
I saw you talking about Harry Potter. Yeah,
Bloomsbury. I'm doing the anthology with Bloomsbury, and it's going really amazing. So I wrote a short story. I'm editing the anthology too, so it's great because I'm reading all of these stories that these amazing authors have written for the anthology. So it's kind of like a thing. It's funny too because all this writing, like when I went into the studio, one of the things like when I'm writing a record, like the melody can come at the same time as the lyrics or whatever. But I remember having this late session, and it was for some reason the lyrics weren't coming, and I was like, okay, it's like really, really late. It's like almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I still didn't get the words done, but this is gonna take forever. And then the words actually came, so it kind of like made me better in writing music.
Right, that makes sense.
So what's
you
it
write
about?
Your own music.
What's this sci-fi thing about?
I don't want to speak too much on the sci-fi trilogy, but I will say that the anthology is called Because You Love to Hate Me, and it's about villains, like seeing everything through the eyes of the villain. Because I always love.
You didn't consult me on that.
I did. No, I
I'm
should
the bad
have.
guy.
I should have.
Yeah.
You actually should contribute. You should write a foreword for it or something like that.
Okay.
But I always love the villain. Like I always, like in my movie, Tony Montana doesn't die. Like when he's at his highest, everything's all good. Everyone's happy. In Breaking Bad, no spoilers, but the thing that happens is different. Nucky in Boardwalk Empire, he's good. Right. Tony Soprano, he's all right. Nino Brown,
You're
yeah.
Old Dog and Menace. Movies, man. We gotta get you out the house.
How you gonna tell somebody you're reading too much?
I said watching too many movies.
Evie just read the first book he's ever read in 10 years.
Some of these are old, but it's like. But I love that, and a lot of that has influenced my music too. So I have some ideas on how to incorporate some of the music stuff into my writing. I'm a big geek, though.
Let's talk about your career. Everybody always says Ameriie should have been a superstar because she's pretty, she could dance, she could sing. What happened? What do you think happened?
It is? It's timing. Like everything is timing. Like I'm a big believer in timing, and so I still feel like I haven't reached my peak yet. Like I feel like it's just because it was like just starting, and then kind of like. I don't want to say things went left, but it's kind of like it's all timing.
It's like you went left. You just disappeared.
Yeah, what went left?
Really, what it was is going from label to label. That's part of it. Mm-hmm. And one of the things for me is that it always took so long. Like I'm so happy now you can actually just put out music. It's a little different. It's a lot easier, but it's also so much more out there. Sometimes it's hard to cut through. But for me, I would record an album, and by the time we're ready to put it out, and because it's slow. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm on to the next thing. I'm on to the next thing. That's why, like, Cymatic is a trilogy. I'm creating that. That's one sound. This thing that I have coming out on Friday called Drive. Well, Drive. Mm-hmm. Drive is coming out in May, and then I have another EP that I'm working out that's coming out hopefully in July. That's the thing, because I'm like a very antsy creative person.
I heard you got OCD.
I do have a little bit of that.
Okay.
We just discussed that when you walked in.
Yeah, because some people think it's just like organizing, but I am a perfectionist. Like that comes out somehow. Like people don't know when they see my CD, like my videos, I would do my video concepts. My CD, where the barcode is, I put the barcode where it's going to be on the CD, the album packaging, all that stuff. But it's beyond being a perfectionist. It's like you get these weird thoughts. I feel like everyone gets that, but it's like you might be washing the dishes and you're like, you might leave the fork in the bowl and you're like, the fork is drowning. The fork can't breathe. The fork is drowning.
you have
And
OCD,
you, yeah.
The
so
fork
you,
is drowning.
I know it doesn't make any
The hell?
sense. Or if I don't take the fork out right now, mommy's gonna get in an accident. Like it has nothing.
What?
That's what I'm saying. Like
Right.
So you've been doing drugs the
things-
past few years.
Yeah,
You
No.
haven't
Now, you know, some people say it was your
No.
relationship because you got
married.
So you got
Oh,
your
yeah.
manager.
Young.
You say your manager ruined your career.
and they said it was your
No.
manager who was also exec might have ruined your career. I know you heard that
No.
before.
No, I never really heard that before.
Stop it,
But
Marie.
I've never heard
It was
that.
articles about that.
But
absolutely.
I don't read about myself. Though.
Got you.
Okay.
But I never heard that. But here's the interesting thing. The thing about it is, well, actually, he's actually very supportive. So actually, a lot of my creative energy comes from like just our relationship.
Y'all
and,
still
like,
together?
do stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. But it's funny because no matter what, when you have a male and a female in a relationship, he's either the Svengali or the one that's like he's either pulling the strings or it's the other way around. Like, oh, he's just ruining everything. A woman can never just stand on her own and do her thing. It's always either she's being controlled or she's or she's being ruined. It's one of the. It's just sexist.
I agree with her on that.
Now he was an executive.
Yeah, he
when
was an
getting
executive at
signed, right?
Sony, right?
At the time, but we weren't working together at the time.
Okay.
And we worked together. That's how we met, because he actually put me on my first tour and my first feature, because he was executive producing Nas's projects too. So it's kind of like how I got started.
So you don't think he ruined your career in any way?
No, actually, he helped a lot of things. There were some things that I would like, I would hear and I was like, oh, I don't know about this. He was like, what are you talking about? Like one thing really came from his involvement. You know
Gotcha.
what I mean?
And let's
So-
talk about that because that was heavily go, heavily DC. It sounded so Maryland, DC-ish.
Yeah, it's very, working with Rich. We actually did something together too. It's been a while, but we did something recently. But yeah, that sound, it was just a very fresh sound, I have a record, you might have heard it, Out Loud.
That's the
I
one
don't
that
know
you
if
just
you
put
heard.
out.
That's the one I just recently
Right.
put out that kind of has that flavor. But the Drive record is kind of like a little bit different. My next EP is gonna have a different sound too. It's just, I feel very creative. I feel really extremely creative right now. I'm like in a really creative zone. But yeah, it's funny because I know that I disappear and people are like, "Oh, what happened?" But it's because I don't like really chase after fame. Like that's not like my favorite thing is like I don't even really love red carpets. Maybe because of the OCD thing is to me they just give me a lot of anxiety. I don't love taking pictures. I don't really love that. And I mean, people ask me to do reality shows, but I'm not into.
That's not you.
That's not me.
You said you do music because you love to do it. Because
Exactly.
clearly you're a very intelligent woman. You could be doing anything
Thank you.
that you want to do.
Yeah, I
Except
just love
scripting.
to create.
Too smart for that.
Well, yeah.
Uh-oh.
No.
You did it down before? Something you want to tell us?
Had to,
No,
had
that-
to,
wanted to
had
do
to
that
pay
to
your
be the
way
best
through
stripper
Georgetown.
that thought, I was gonna say except stripping. It just reminded me because it seems like my husband's always like, okay, everybody put on your feminist thing, because I'm always like, that's so sexist. That's so sexist. And I'm not saying that it's like, oh, stripping terrible, but at the same time, yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say with that. I wouldn't strip though, only because I don't look down on strippers, but only
You're
because
saying just because you're
I'm
a
not
stripper doesn't mean
interested.
you're not smart. Right.
Yeah, that's very true.
That you can't just say, oh,
Like
you're too smart
people-
to be a stripper. It doesn't mean that there's people who strip to pay for college and go on and never do it again.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't really recommend stripping because I feel like you're kind of like exploiting your body, and it's a very sexist industry or whatever. But I also think that people tend to look at people who are strippers and they're like, oh, they're strippers. But then it's like, but you watch it, so you're still partaking in that. It's like you can't remove yourself from it.
It's like, okay, it's okay for me to watch it, but the fact that you're doing it,
People be like, oh,
I
that's a
look down
porn
on you,
star.
but-
I look down
right.
on you, but
But
I
you
like to
watch
watch
porn.
porn. So it's like, you can't. It's like being judgy, I think.
Right.
Now, when you came out with the record, the one thing record, seems like after that record, a lot of people took that style and that sound Did you feel like a lot of people were biting off of it? Because when you came out, that was like a noisy record, but it worked.
It was really noisy because a lot of people were like, where is this going to fit in the mix? Where is this going to fit in the set? It was different. But I think Rich and I really, we helped to change music for that moment. I mean, and not just to say like, oh, I'm puffing myself up, but every artist, it's like every artist puts a brick, you know what I mean? Puts a brick in the wall. And it's like all the music.
Artists don't want bricks, Ameriie.
No, you're right.
You want hits.
Every artist puts a hit in the wall.
Gotcha.
And we are all in dialogue with each other. So music, whenever, especially when it's on radio, it's like it's going to influence everyone.
But every artist started doing it after. I heard it from Beyonce. I heard it from Maya. I heard it from a lot of artists.
It influenced a lot. It did.
Was it a point where you thought Beyonce was trying to imitate you?
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, a lot of people are going to say different things, but it's like what I was saying. Like artists, we're all in dialogue with each other. So no artist is an island. You can't say, oh, well, I have no influences. And sometimes people try to say, well, I have an influence, like the 50-year-old ones from back in the day. But it's like we're all influenced by old music and current music. Like you can't get around it.
But y'all was on the same label.
Yeah, but that never really.
Then she started working with Rich.
We were on the same label, but that I don't think that did anything. I know Jay really liked my album, he liked my record, and so
Jay
but
who?
he wasn't Jay-Z.
Are you Becky?
Shut up.
But somehow I was like, you know what? I bet you Charlamagne is gonna ask me that somehow.
But it was a rumor that you and Jay were.
Nah, I never heard that. Jay,
I never heard
I don't know what
that.
Envy's talking about right now.
did.
Hov, I don't know what Envy's
That was
talking
a long
about.
time ago. I did hear that.
I never heard that.
And I thought he was going to be on a remix to one thing at one time. Somebody did like a fake remix.
A DJ did do a remix to it, which I really liked, but it wasn't official. I'm glad he did it though, because I was like, oh, I like that. Thanks.
That had Jay-Z on it.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel
He's
like
one
you
of my
weren't?
favorite artists.
Did you ever feel like you weren't getting the resources you need because you were on Columbia and Beyonce was at the same time?
So I did, I did feel like that, but not for that reason. I felt like it because I was a new artist, and at the time, Sony had Beyonce, but they also had Jennifer Lopez, and it was, I felt like there was kind of like a lot of changes going on an executive level, and I felt like I wasn't getting the support that I needed, but not because of the other artists necessarily. I think it was just, I don't even really know what it was. I know there was a lot of turmoil though, and then I was with Rich, and then I was at the time with 2 production companies, so I think it was a lot of that too.
You think Beyonce stole your walk?
My walk?
Remember the Crazy in Love video when she was walking and the way he was walking in Why Don't We Fall in Love?
No, her walk is more of a runway walk, and my walk was more of a what a nice day, la, la, la kind of walk. It was a different kind of vibe. I can do the other walk too, But,
would you want to sign to a major label now?
I don't know. I didn't have a bad experience. I can say that. It would really depend. I feel like I had a good experience in general. I just like to move and move quickly. I don't like to take a long time. Creatively, I never had a problem with anyone getting in my way. So I wouldn't be opposed to it. It would have to be the right situation.
Some people say nowadays labels don't really develop artists the way that they should, and that people don't do things like set up for an album to come out. And I know you like to do complete projects, and the whole setup process is kind of important. I know you like the fact that you can put music out and be more direct, but what do you think about labels not really developing artists and people just kind of throwing music out?
Well, when I first came into the business, like artists weren't really being developed by labels at that time. That was like the first time it was starting to happen. So I didn't really experience the whole like developing and all that stuff like that. When we came with my demo. That was like, those were the songs that were on the album. Like we recorded them. We did it all ourselves. That's why I never really had any creative issues with the label, because they knew I kind of came in with my own thing anyway. But I actually like that it's not so like, this is the first single, this is the second single, now we're gonna do all this. Because like, I always felt like you could do a video to your music if you wanted to, but it wasn't like required. Because I was like, these days with the way radio is, it takes so long to like get things on the radio. It's just, you just put out and let people decide what they want to hear. I don't think that you need a whole big setup. I don't even think you need an album anymore. Honestly, I personally like EPs, because I'm so kind of like, okay, let me do this, let me do that. This, I have the writing stuff going on. I like this sound and this sound, but I'm very big on my album sounding cohesive. So doing like an EP and an EP that sound completely different makes sense for me.
Now you're such a skinny mini. Were you ever
a skinny mini?
She's skinny. She's real skinny.
Are you body shaming?
No, my daughter's just as skinny. So anyway, have you ever? Did they ever try to press you to do enhancements, whether it's to make your butt bigger or breast bigger?
Ameriie.
No, and you know what? They never did. They never did. And